Okay, recording this video after close of trade Tuesday 23rd of August 2011. Well, there we go, 11.20 held. We ended up closing up at 11.58.5. Big ranging up bar day on better volume, 2.8 million contracts traded. Question is, are we just going to rocket on forward, or are we just going to kind of come back a little bit, test it again, and then kind of keep going? 135-minute chart, we ended up with this end of trend pattern, and now, looking at this, it looks fairly classic. Kind of blue fractional bars kind of coming in here with exhaustion selling on the left shoulder. Pullback, amateur bars here kind of getting into the move too early, bearish divergence, weak buying. We end up kind of testing down with a flush pattern here, kind of flushing out the last of the sellers at this point. Little bullish divergence we put in here, end of trend comes up, bang. We kind of complete that move, and the better sine wave is just using price data, and better momentum is just using volume data, so they're kind of non-correlated and showing you effectively the same thing in terms of psychology of the market. So it looked like a kind of a classic pattern after that kind of completion. X trend has not kind of shown us this stop kind of trailing down, so that's kind of still hanging around at 12.15 above us, acting as a resistance. So could we keep kind of going a little bit further and then kind of come back down again, have a bad day in a couple of days time after people see this double bottom and kind of jump on board? That's a possibility. Better trend has not kind of turned down at the lows. It is kind of marginally oversold, but I'd still think there's a little bit more couple of days to go before that kind of turns around. I'd have thought we'll find out tomorrow. It was a strong day, and it doesn't look like 1100 is going to be broken this time around, or during this little leg we're going to have, I think. So let's see what goes. In terms of charts here, I had a shocking day today. Ended up losing 5.5 points after 7 trades. At one point I was down 10 3/4 points. Then I was lucky enough to pull off a 5-point winner, and just because I was being stubborn and tried to get long at the very beginning. I'll show you why. I'm on the 1500 tip bar chart, coming into the open 8:30 here. We had an end of trend exhaustion selling flush pattern kind of here, and I was we'd gone past the end of trend, and on the lower time frames we also had an end of trend on the 500 tip bar chart, and I was like thinking, well, that's it, and getting long here, and no, got stopped out as we kind of headed down. And the low was actually nicely printed here with another end of trend on the 1500 tip bar chart after another exhaustion signal here. Blue professional bars kind of coming in here. I didn't have coming into the open there were blue professional bars, but there were none right after the open. It's not unusual to see that before the open. I usually tend to ignore them because that's just professionals kind of positioning themselves. Waiting, should have been waiting for this one here. I mean, in retrospect, this was a classic icebreaker kind of trade. It's the first blue professional bar on the 1500 tip bar chart, and you take the break of the high in this case, along with the cyclical confirmation, bang. I mean, it was the low for the day, and the thing just rocketed on. And so I suppose I was a bit out of sorts after being stopped out. I was trying to get short all the time, and instead of recognizing that the bottom was in, and this is how I should have known. So we come in on the 4500 tip bar chart. We'd raced away the night before, kind of came back, tested that low all the way. After exhaustion buying, we had very weak selling going on here, bullish divergence kind of down here, the 1120s type level. But then coming up through this move, you can see this little sequence on the professionals. So start to take profits as they come into support here. So support becomes resistance. We kind of sell off with a blue professional bar, but the low of that blue professional bar holds, and in fact, the professionals use that as an opportunity to buy into the next move, to buy up as much as they can. We break the highs of that bar and continue breaking the highs of that bar, and you can see that little kind of pattern there. Initially is a little bit of profit taking, but then as we retrace, they're getting on board this move and kind of goes off to the upside. Now the next time, then we get kind of exhaustion, divergence patterns and so on, and yep, a little bit of professional profit taking up here. But then the next time that we come into this move, blue professional bars coming into support here. At resistance becomes support, blue professional bars, and then that's the signal to kind of in the mid-30s where this trend is starting to show professional support for this trend, and then we kind of keep going. Now, if we were going to turn around, we'd have had more blue professional bars kind of taking profits here. We only had a little one here, and then it was all these blue professional bars at this support level. And so I was again trying to get short, and at the end of the day, around 33.75, I was trying to get short. Got out with a scratch trade at 33.75, but saw this kind of lining up, and just mentally I was just couldn't really kind of just get into the trade and kind of take a long trade. So yeah, I think that's what happens particularly after 7 trades. I only had the 5-point winner and a small. I'm just looking at my trades. A small winner for a half point. Okay, well, TradeStation just chose to refresh all my charts there, so a little bit of delay. Sorry about that. Anyway, so as I was saying, at this point here, the professionals start supporting this move into this cyclical support level here. You can see these down blue professional bars, and that's where we kind of race away. And then we kind of come into Rambo pattern after exhaustion buying. All this amateur activity here, trying to figure out if they're going to kind of short it here. But once a trend kind of takes place by 1 o'clock in the afternoon, it's not going to turn around. And in fact, the professionals are using this opportunity to push it even higher, kind of take profits up here. Interesting, we formed a pullback to end of trend sequence, all exhaustion buying and so on. 4,500 tip bar chart. Could see a little bit of profit taking kind of tomorrow morning potentially. And I'm not sure if we're going to kind of test a little bit down a little bit and then kind of keep going, just because we've not seen that bottom on the trend oscillator yet. So possibly we're out of the woods and we're kind of racing away, but again, just wouldn't be surprised if we kind of kick back a little bit and test this breakaway move. Anyway, now what does this mean? Kind of bigger picture, potentially means we've got a little something kind of going on. We're going to get rolling out of risk-off trades into risk-on trades. So we've got the bond markets here, 30-year bond market here. We've had exhaustion buying, bearish divergence, and a flush signal here. You can see profit-taking patterns at the highs. All these blue professional bars kind of coming into these highs. We've just punched through on the daily support resistance level on beta sine wave. And so we could see, this is quite extreme activity in terms of bonds. So we could see people kind of rolling out, taking profits out of bonds and rolling into equities potentially. And then on dollar index, we're very weak on dollar index here. And this last little amateur up bar, we can see all these cyclical support levels have kind of been holding over the last couple of months. But are we going to get another down leg in dollar index? If we look at the euro, so this is kind of the reverse of dollar index, it looks like we're just itching for a little breakout here. You can see, we've had exhaustion selling. We put in, this is almost like a flush type activity here. Blue professional bars kind of coming in, support on the daily time frame holds. This last amount of buying activity, selling activity was really weak with bullish divergence patterns here, and we've had all these little cyclical resistance levels kind of be batting backwards and forwards in these ranges, just waiting for a breakout move. Is it going to be to the upside as we kind of get on to these risk trades again? And then Aussie dollar doing a similar type thing, kind of just pulled back a little bit a couple of days ago, just waiting to break through 105. Now, I need to point this pattern out. You can see this on a whole bunch of charts where we've had extreme selling, exhaustion selling patterns, and you get this little bullish divergence here. Let me just show you it here. So this is copper. Extreme selling down here. This little bullish divergence pattern that we get kind of seemingly shows support here. We've got cyclical support on the daily time frame. We kind of rock it. It's unusual for that to be not tested with another kind of selling bar into a flush pattern or something like that, where we've had our bullish divergence, but it's so close to the zero line, you usually see another little kind of kick back where you get kind of a flush signal, and that's kind of the real low. So this is why I'm thinking that we just might have another little kind of correction after this kind of initial running away piece, just to test the lows again, or test back into this move. Same kind of patterns we're seeing. So here's crude, exhaustion selling, blue professional bars kind of coming in here, and this bullish divergence pattern that seemingly is held right now is so close to the zero line. We normally see another divergence pattern, either a flush pattern or bullish divergence pattern, down here kind of midway through this this range on better momentum. And that's kind of this kind of test back. I'm just wondering if we're going to have that before this move is really kind of tested and we kind of race away. But the point is, you can see we're making some kind of support levels on all of these risk-on trades with crude, copper. We're potentially breaking out of the currencies, where the currencies have been doing nothing for a couple of months, with the exception of kind of Singapore dollar and Swiss franc. We could see us kind of just breaking out of those, move into a kind of a whole risk-on kind of complex kind of going up. So I hope you traded better than me today. I'm kind of glad at least I came back from a 10 3/4 and put in a winning trade. But psychologically, it's just difficult to kind of reset your meter kind of halfway through the trading day in order to say, actually this is going to be an uptrend, and the signals, the signs are there. It's just mentally actually kind of trying to recalibrate sometimes is, I find as difficult as anybody else. So the stronger personalities, I think, are able to say, look, I'm wrong, I'm losing money today because I'm refusing to take the trades, and I just need to find the right pullback to get into this long trade and hang on until we find a decent profit taking place. But anyway, not every day can be a winning day, and so lick my wounds and come back into it fresh tomorrow.